AITA for reporting my mother to the police after she stole my identity at 16 and left me $67,000 in debt? I want to tell you something about the moment your life stops making sense. Not the kind of confusion that comes from a bad day or an unexpected bill. The kind that comes when you are sitting in a car dealership at 24 years old, trying to finance your first vehicle, and the finance manager looks at his screen and then looks at you with an expression you cannot immediately read. And then he turns the monitor toward you. And you see your own name attached to a credit history that could not possibly belong to you. That was the moment my life stopped making sense. And what I found when I started pulling at that thread changed everything I thought I knew about my mother, my childhood, and the woman who raised me. My name is Melissa. I am 26 years old now. I work as a medical assistant. I share an apartment with a roommate, and I have spent the last 2 years slowly, painfully rebuilding something that was taken from me before I was old enough to understand what credit even was. My mother's name is Diane. She is 51 years old. She raised me and my 2 younger brothers alone after my father left when I was 11. I want to be clear about something from the beginning. My mother's life was genuinely hard. My father leaving created real financial instability. There were years when money was extremely tight. There were months when I knew, even as a child, that things were not okay. I understood struggle. I understood sacrifice. I thought I understood my mother. I did not understand her at all. 2 years ago I walked into a car dealership on a Saturday morning feeling genuinely excited. I had been saving for a down payment for 8 months. I had a stable job. I had never taken out a loan in my life, never opened a credit card, never had any debt that I was aware of. I was 24 years old and I was about to finance my first car, and it felt like a milestone. The kind of ordinary adult achievement that means more than it probably should. The finance manager ran my credit check. Then he asked me to come into his office and close the door. My credit score was 418. I told him that was impossible. I had never borrowed money. I had never opened a credit account. I had been careful specifically because I wanted my credit to be clean when I needed it. He turned the monitor toward me and showed me the report. There were 9 accounts on my credit history. 9. A credit card opened when I was 16. Another opened when I was 17. A personal loan from when I was 18, the year I graduated high school and moved into my first apartment. A period when I had been so focused on surviving independently that I had never thought to check my credit. Store cards. A second personal loan. Accounts going back 8 years, some of them maxed out, most of them delinquent, 2 of them in collections. Total outstanding debt, $67,340. I sat in that office for a long time without speaking. The finance manager was kind. He gave me a glass of water. He told me quietly that what I was looking at had the characteristics of identity theft and that I should contact the credit bureaus and potentially law enforcement. I drove home in the car I had arrived in, not the car I had hoped to leave in, and I sat in my parking lot for 45 minutes before I went inside. I spent the next week going through every account in detail. The addresses associated with the accounts. The billing information. The phone numbers used to open them. Everything pointed to one location. My childhood home. My mother's address. The accounts had been opened using my social security number, my date of birth, my full legal name, information that only someone with complete access to my personal documents could have had. I confronted my mother on a Sunday. I drove to her house with printed copies of every account, every statement, every piece of documentation I had gathered. I laid them on her kitchen table and I asked her to explain what I was looking at. She did not deny it immediately. She looked at the papers for a long time. Then she looked at me, and then she began to explain. She told me that the year I turned 16 had been the worst financial year of her life. My father had stopped paying child support entirely. She had lost her job and spent 4 months unemployed. The bills had piled up in ways she could not manage. She had been terrified of losing the house, of not being able to feed my brothers, of everything collapsing. She had opened the first account in my name because she had told herself it was temporary. She would pay it back before I ever needed my credit. She would fix it before it mattered. She had told herself this so many times over 8 years that she had almost come to believe it. Almost. I asked her why she had not told me when I turned 18. When I turned 20. When I turned 22. At any point in 8 years when she could have warned me, could have started trying to repair the damage, could have given me the chance to understand what I was walking into. She said she had been ashamed. She said every year she had told herself she would fix it before I found out. She said she had not known how to tell me. She said she was sorry. I asked her what sorry looked like when the number on the table was $67,000. She started to cry. She told me she had only been trying to keep the family together. She told me my brothers had eaten because of those accounts. She told me there had been no other option. She told me I had to understand the position she had been in. I told my mother that I was going to the police. She begged me not to. She said reporting her would mean prison. She said my brothers, who were now 22 and 19, would lose their mother. She said everything she had done had been for us, for the family, and that destroying her would not give me back what had been taken. She said we could figure out a payment plan. She said she would work extra shifts. She said she would fix it. I thought about it for 2 weeks. I spoke to an attorney who specializes in identity theft. I spoke to my 2 closest friends. I spoke to a counselor. I did not speak to my mother during those 2 weeks. I did not speak to my brothers either. I was not ready. At the end of those 2 weeks I filed a police report. My brothers found out the same day. Marcus, the older one, called me screaming. He told me I was destroying the family over money. He told me our mother had sacrificed everything for us and that turning her in was the most selfish thing I had ever done. He told me I would regret it for the rest of my life. My younger brother Kevin did not call. He has not spoken to me since. My mother was charged. She did not go to prison. Her attorney negotiated a plea agreement that involved restitution payments and probation. The restitution process is slow and the monthly amounts are small. At the current rate it will take 14 years to pay back the full amount. My attorney says there are additional civil options I can pursue but that collecting will be difficult given my mother's financial situation. My credit recovery has been slow and painful. I've spent 2 years disputing accounts, filing fraud reports with every creditor, working with the credit bureaus. My score is now 591. It is not good, but it is no longer catastrophic. I still cannot qualify for a conventional mortgage. I still pay higher interest rates than I should. I am still living with the consequences of decisions made about my financial future when I was 16 years old and had no idea any of it was happening. I have not had a real conversation with my mother since the day I filed the report. We were in the same room once, my younger brother's birthday, 8 months ago, and we did not speak. She looked older than I remembered. I felt something when I saw her that I still have not been able to name precisely. It was not satisfaction. It was not grief exactly. It was something in between. I think about my brothers often. I think about Marcus telling me I had destroyed the family. I think about whether he is right. I think about whether a family that was built on $67,000 of stolen debt was ever really intact to begin with. I think about the 16-year-old version of myself who had no idea. Who was going to school and doing homework and thinking about the future with the innocent assumption that her future was her own. It was not. It had already been spent. Was I wrong to report my own mother? Was I wrong to choose my financial future over her freedom? Or did 8 years of silence make everything that followed not just justified but inevitable? You decide. Leave your verdict in the comments right now, NTA or YTA. And subscribe to The Verdict for new stories every single week. Because every story deserves a verdict.